So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today we're going to take a look at the new gunblade released with the Silver Grove update, the Sarpa. So first of all, how do you get Sarpa? Well, you can pick up the blueprint from the market. It will cost you 20,000 credits, and to build it you will need additional 20,000 credits, 1 pair of Extillatos, 3,300 cryotic, 1,000 plastates, and 2 control modules. And for all of that, you will get a gunblade that has a mastery rank requirement of 8. It is completely silent, just like the Redeemer. Even the shots are silent, so it's great for stealth characters. It has an attack speed of 1, it fires 5 pellets per shot, and it does 70 damage per hit, 7 out of which is impact, 14 is puncture, and 49 is slash. It also has a low critical strike chance of only 5%, critical multiplier of 150%, and it has 10% status chance. And to top it off, it comes with a V stance polarity which matches both High Noon and Bullet Dance, and it has 1 D polarity as standard. Now, since this weapon doesn't have a lot of critical strike chance or status chance, the build you want to go for is a raw damage build. Now, I'm using a 3 Forma build, and I've added 2 Vs and a dash, and I'm using High Noon for the stance because Bullet Dance makes me motion sick, unfortunately. For the mods, I'm using Primed Pressure Point for more damage, Primed Fury for more attack speed, this makes the weapon really fast, Body Count because Body Count is bloody amazing, Spoiled Strike which adds even more damage, and since the weapon is really fast it doesn't really hurt the weapon, a Smite mod if I'm going up against the Infested, the Grenier or the Corpus, and if I want to take it against the Corrupted I am using a Physical Damage mod. And to top it off, I'm using 3 elemental mods based on the faction I'm going up against. So versus the Grenier, it's going to be Radiation and Cold. Versus the Infested and the Corrupted, I'm going to be using Corrosive and Heat damage. And versus the Corpus, I'm going to be running Magnetic and Toxin damage. So what are the good things about the Sarpa? Well, first of all, it's a gunblade, so you can shoot it, which is very cool. It's really fast, and both the stances are really good, even though I get motion sickness from one of them. And I mean, it's a gunblade. You are shooting at dudes with a sword, and that is a thing that never gets old. And compared to the Redeemer, the basic combo, even though it gives me motion sickness, looks much cooler and it has far more shots in it. And just like with the Redeemer, the charge shot does a hell of a lot of damage, especially when fired from stealth at unalerted enemies. The charge attack also seems to have 100% status chance, however it heavily favors physical damage procs. And I don't know what the rules for this are, but every now and then when firing the Sarpa, it will do a little bit of blast damage and knock the enemy down, which is fairly useful. However, the Sarpa does come with a couple of downsides. So first of all, the charge shots have damage fall-off and very widespread. So doing full damage with them requires you to be very close to the enemy. And another thing that some people consider a downside, personally I don't, raw damage builds don't really scale as well into endgame as crit or status builds. And now we come to the question. You know the question, is it better than the Redeemer? Well, on paper and probably even in the simulacrum, yes, it does more damage and it's faster. In a mission though, no. And let me explain why. Recently, DE decided that they will include the shots fired from the gunblade into the combo counter. This was an immense buff for gunblades because now you can run them with body count and you can stack up your combo counter even when you're shooting them, and they decided that each pellet will count as 1 hit. Now, since the Redeemer fires far more pellets than the Sarpa, it stacks the combo counter faster. Much faster. With the Redeemer, you can quadruple your damage through the combo counter in under 5 minutes. It takes the Sarpa about 20 minutes to do the same thing. But that's not that big of a deal, because if you're playing an endless mission, the Sarpa will eventually catch up. But here's the thing. Since the Redeemer can stack the combo counter so fast, and by fast I mean if you shoot a dude point blank in the face, you're gonna get like 20 or 30 hits. If you fire into a group of dudes, you're gonna get like 50 or 60 hits. So, since you can stack it so fast, you can put on Blood Rush even though it only has 5% critical strike chance. Because in under 5 minutes, assuming that you're shooting dudes, your critical strike chance is gonna jump up to 38% and will only continue to climb up as you build more combo. So when you start a mission or you're just shooting at things in the simulacrum, yes, the Sarpa is gonna do more damage, but take it into a mission and compare them after 5 minutes, and the Redeemer is now doing a little bit more damage, and it's starting to crit fairly regularly, doing even more damage. Yes, you will have to replace the Bane mod, which does do a lot of damage, but on the other hand, hey, it works against all the factions. I'm not saying the Sarpa is a bad weapon, I do like it a hell of a lot, especially the fast attack speed. That's something that always bothered me about Redeemer, it is pretty slow. I do prefer faster weapons, but I think I will stick with the Redeemer. And I think I would stick with the Redeemer, even if the Sarpa did far more damage and was just miles ahead of the Redeemer. Because personally, I think the Redeemer has far more swag than the Sarpa. So all in all, even though I prefer the Redeemer, I would still recommend the Sarpa because the fast attack speed is really nice, the high slash damage is awesome against all the factions if you're running Corrosive Projection. So yeah, go for it, definitely go for it. It's not too expensive, even though it does require Extillato. And maybe you will like it more than the Redeemer. And that's pretty much it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching, as always, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.